If you're a true Liverpool fan, subscribe to Anfield Signal. Darwin Nunez responds in only way he can after being cut from Saudi squad. Darwin Nunez scored twice for Al Hilal in the AFC Champions League after being dropped from the Saudi Pro League squad, with the former Liverpool striker staring at the owner's box following his second goal. Darwin Nunez allowed his performances on the pitch to speak volumes after being dropped from Al Hilal's squad for the second half of the Saudi Pro League campaign. The former Liverpool striker was ruthlessly omitted following Karim Benzema's arrival in January. Saudi clubs are permitted to register only 8 foreign players born before 2003 in their 25-man squads, and Nunez was the one sacrificed. It marked a fresh setback for the striker, who moved to Al Hilal from Liverpool last summer. However, Nunez remains eligible for AFC Champions League games. On Monday, he was selected to start Al Hilal's encounter with Al Wahda and delivered the goods. Nunez netted both goals as the Saudi Giants defeated the UAE's Al Wahda 2-1. After nodding in his opener, the 26-year-old offered a subdued celebration. After restoring Al Hilal's advantage in the 77th minute, Nunez turned and gazed directly toward the owner's box inside the Kingdom Arena. It served as a pointed statement of what the former Benfica striker is capable of, bringing his season tally to 9 goals in 24 appearances. Nunez wasn't the only player removed from the squad. Ex-Arsenal centre-back Pablo Mari was also dropped and featured for an R in Tuesday's victory. The decision was difficult, but that's the job of a coach, Al Hilal's manager, Simone Inzaghi, admitted. He makes many decisions every day, even in every training session. Nunez and Pablo are good players. I want them in all competitions, but we know the restrictions on registering foreign players. We couldn't register Marcos Leonardo as a player born in Saudi Arabia. Time was of the essence, and I made the difficult decision. I calmly informed the excluded players of my decision. Inzaghi added, "Everyone knows Benzema. He's a great champion. He doesn't need to score a hat-trick to show his potential. We're happy to have him in the team. He benefits us in every aspect, not just on the pitch." Al Hilal sits at the summit of the Saudi League standings, a point clear of Al Nassr in second place and 3 ahead of Al Ahly in third. Inzaghi's players welcome defending champion Al Ittihad on Saturday, before facing Al Tawun away from home during the week, as they aim to maintain their undefeated domestic run. New Alexis Mac Allister transfer claim made after shock managed interest. Alexis Mac Allister is being linked with the shock transfer to Manchester United in the summer, which would make him the first player to make such a move since 1937. There have not been any conversations involving Manchester United and Alexis Mac Allister over a shock transfer from Liverpool to Manchester United. That's the latest claim from transfer guru Fabrizio Romano. Romano said he is not aware of anything concrete in the speculation linking Argentina star Mac Allister with a move to Old Trafford. It was reported by the Daily Mirror on Monday that Mac Allister was a surprise inclusion on United's list of midfield targets ahead of the summer transfer window. The Red Devils are set to enter the market for reinforcements in the center of the park, with new faces required in the wake of the news that Casemiro will leave. Carlos Baleba, Elliot Anderson, and Adam Wharton are also said to be on United's list of targets. But it is the inclusion of Mac Allister on the reported shortlist that has raised the most eyebrows. Not since 1964 has a player moved directly between Manchester United and Liverpool, when Phil Chisnell swapped Old Trafford for Anfield, and it was even longer ago that a player moved in the opposite direction. Ted Savage was the last to join United in 1937. Judging by Romano's latest comments, that could remain the case beyond this summer, with a move to United for Mac Allister not on his radar. At the moment, I'm not aware of anything concrete or strong in terms of links between Manchester United and Mac Allister, he said. Man United will be busy in the summer. Man United will be really busy with that position. Could be 1, could be 2 midfielders. It could be really interesting. But before they decide who they want, there are 2 main points to clarify: whether they play in the Champions League next season, which will influence their budget, and who will be the manager, Michael Carrick or other candidates. Man United will not decide in February. Among the names, there's Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba, who was a top target under Ruben Amorim, Sandro Tonali, and others. Currently, there is nothing really advanced. Mac Allister's father recently addressed his son's future while speaking to Win-Win, saying that he is happy at Anfield. What I can say at the moment is that Alexis is focused on Liverpool and the current season. Mac Allister SNR said earlier this month. Alexis is very happy and very comfortable with Liverpool. Ibrahima Konate Liverpool contract decision agreed upon after return to form and £60 million transfer. Our Echo panel have their say on what Liverpool should look to do over the future of Ibrahima Konate, who is out of contract this summer. Speaking on Friday, Arne Slot explained that Liverpool remain locked in talks with Ibrahima Konate's representatives over a new contract at Anfield. The France international sees his terms expire at the end of the season. As things stand, he is set to become the latest in a long line of high-profile players in recent years, whose deals have ran out before leaving. James Milner, Naby Keita, Roberto Firmino, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Gini Wijnaldum are just 4 who have left as free agents since 2021. And Trent Alexander-Arnold would have joined that list had Real Madrid not paid a £10 million premium to get the England international in early for June's Club World Cup in the United States. Slot revealed, "We are in talks with him, so that tells you what we want. It's clear we would like him to stay, but negotiations are ongoing, so let's see where that ends. We wouldn't be in negotiations if we didn't want him to stay." But with the center-back reportedly seeking a significant hike on the agreement he signed when he was a young player joining from RB Leipzig in 2021, the Echo's writers have their say on whether a new deal for Konate is a no-brainer. It's been a season blighted by inconsistency for Konate, but the defender is not alone in that regard. As Slot alluded to, the defender has often been superb for 89 minutes only for a momentary lapse to let him down. However, Konate, who was allowed a 3-game leave of absence after the death of his father last month, has looked rejuvenated since his return. He even asked to come back early to help a defensive crisis, showing his willingness to play for the team. In January 2025, he returned from injury quicker than expected and even revealed he was playing through the pain barrier with injections to make himself available. Since his comeback, he has been virtually flawless, shining in the 4-1 win over Newcastle and against Sunderland. Throw in another good display against Brighton on Saturday night in the FA Cup, and the Paris-born player looks like he is enjoying his football once more. At 26, Konate should be entering his prime. He has developed a lot during his 5 years at the club, but remains on the same terms agreed when he was 22. Replacing him would cost a fortune, and while the £60 million Jeremy Jacquet is one for the future, there is no substitute for experience. If Konate was about to become available, Liverpool would be in the conversation about snapping him up as a free agent. It is therefore imperative Liverpool agree a new contract with the defender. Jeremy Jacquet may be arriving in the summer in a £60 million deal, but at 20 years of age, he's younger than Konate was in 2021. Liverpool need to ensure Konate sticks around. It's about rewarding him at a deserved rate. Plus, with Virgil van Dijk now approaching 35, it could be that Konate emerges as the natural successor to the Dutchman. He can't do that if he's not at Liverpool, though. Jurgen Klopp often made his feelings clear on Chelsea's lavish transfer spending. Jurgen Klopp previously commented on Chelsea's lavish spending in the transfer market, at one stage joking he did not feel comfortable speaking about it without a lawyer. Jurgen Klopp's agents claim that Manchester United and Chelsea were interested in hiring him following his Liverpool exit 2 years ago has come as a surprise to many people. The German departed Anfield in 2024, having restored Liverpool's reputation as one of the best teams in the world, and now works for Red Bull as its head of global soccer. Klopp said last year that he had no immediate intention of returning to the dugout after a managerial career that began all the way back in 2001. The claim that Chelsea inquired about potentially appointing Klopp is an interesting one, particularly considering the way in which Klopp spoke about Chelsea during his time as Liverpool boss. In September 2020, as Klopp addressed Liverpool's lack of signings during the summer transfer window compared with Chelsea, which had spent over $150 million at the time, he spoke about the differences between how the two clubs operated in the transfer market. Clubs are in different situations, and we are living in uncertainty in the world, Klopp said amid the COVID-19 pandemic. For some clubs, it seems to be less important how uncertain the future is because they are owned by countries, owned by oligarchs, and that is the truth. We are a different kind of club. We reached the Champions League final 2 years ago, won it the following year, and won the Premier League by being the club we are. We cannot change that overnight and say, now we want to behave like Chelsea. We always want to improve the squad, but there are different ways. One way is to sign new players and the other way is to work together, improve the things you are good in, and try to nullify the things you are not good in. That is football. No one wants to talk about training and only about signings. 3 years later, when Todd Boehly replaced Roman Abramovich as the Chelsea owner, seemingly spending even more freely than his predecessor, Klopp joked that it wouldn't be wise to speak about Chelsea's transfer activity without legal counsel. I say nothing without my lawyer. No, I'm joking, Klopp said. I don't understand this part of the business, like what you can do and what you cannot do. They are all really good players, so from that point of view, congratulations. I don't understand how it's possible, but it's obviously not for me to explain how it works. Bringing things back to the present day, and Klopp's agent, Mark Kosick, claimed in a new interview with Transfermarkt that Klopp had turned down approaches from Chelsea and Manchester United 2 years ago. Even Chelsea and Manchester United inquired, although Jurgen had clearly stated that he would not coach any other club in England. These inquiries haven't stopped, Kosick said. Jurgen has undergone a metamorphosis, moving away from being a coach with a broad perspective towards more management responsibilities. The Press Association reports that Chelsea and United both strongly denied Kosick's suggestion that they were keen to appoint Klopp upon his exit from Liverpool. Liverpool defender shares exciting injury update as fans finally get a glimpse of him. Liverpool fans have been waiting to get a glimpse of one defender for a long time. Following his injury, Arne Slot must have felt cursed at times this season. After the brilliant Premier League triumph last season, it always felt like things were perhaps a bit too easy. Liverpool cruised to the title and dominated the Premier League. Ultimately, though, a difficult period was going to be inevitable, and that's what's happened so far. In 2025, Slot won just 50% of his games. In 2026, the figure is the same, with Liverpool winning 6 of their 12 matches so far. Slot needs to turn this around. However, it's difficult for him to do it when he has to deal with so many injuries, particularly at the back. Right now, both of his right backs are out injured. Connor Bradley is out for the season. Meanwhile, Jeremy Frimpong is still a while away. Giovanni Leone is also out for the season. Joe Gomez is just returned from injury at center back. Wataru Endo has picked up a serious injury as well. For the vast majority of the campaign, the only fit and available options for Slot at center back have been Ibrahima Konate and Virgil van Dijk. That's why Richard Hughes has acted in January to resolve this problem in the future. He signed Jeremy Jacquet and Ifeanyi Nduku, who will both join the club in the summer. He also brought in Mortal Ndiaye. He is a highly rated Senegalese center back, but as luck would have it, he immediately got injured after signing for the club. Since then, fans have seen very little of Ndiaye, until he finally shared a picture of himself in Liverpool training gear on his Instagram story on Monday afternoon. What's telling about this image is that Ndiaye is wearing outside training apparel. The training jacket and the hood are designed to be used outside, and that would suggest that he is back on training on the pitch. If true, that's a really exciting update. Ndiaye must then be close to being able to play. Obviously, at first he will likely be making appearances for the U21s. But considering how the rest of the season goes and how those performances go, as well as how he performs in first-team training, there is an opportunity here for Ndiaye to make a mark. Before Leone returns from injury, before Jacquet and Nduku arrive in the summer, this is the 18-year-old's chance to have a breakthrough and become an option for Slot. Towards the last few months, he is registered to play in the Premier League, and he can also make an appearance in the FA Cup. So Ndiaye is one to keep an eye on. Former Liverpool youngster on England's radar after impressive form, Derby County's Bobby Clark and David Izzo are understood to have caught the attention of England U21's boss Lee Carsley, who watched their latest championship performance. Derby County pair David Izzo and Bobby Clark are on the watch list of England U21's manager Lee Carsley. That news will interest Liverpool fans, as Clark graduated from the Merseyside club's academy and made 14 first-team appearances under Jurgen Klopp, winning the Carabao Cup in 2024, before joining Austrian side Red Bull Salzburg around the same time as Arne Slot's appointment. The 21-year-old is currently completing a season-long loan at Derby. Both players have been exceptionally impressive under Derby head coach John Eustace this season, and have played a pivotal role in sending the club into the championship's top 6. Izzo started Saturday's match against the Swans and delivered a standout second-half performance, as goals from Ryan Brewster and Patrick Aguimin secured the victory. Clark, on the other hand, was a substitute for the visit of Vitor Mato's side but had been dealing with a groin problem during the week. Although he did come on for the final 30 minutes of the championship encounter, both players are currently on loan at Derby, with Izzo in his second season at the club on a deal from Crystal Palace. Clark has netted for goals for Derby this season, and last found the back of the net in the 5-0 thrashing of Bristol City earlier this month. He has also scored in victories over Charlton and Middlesbrough, having hit the mark earlier in the campaign against Burnley. Izzo has featured in 19 league matches for Derby this campaign and, following his comeback from a thigh problem against Blackburn, has delivered consistently impressive displays in central midfield. His solitary Derby goal this term came via a superb strike in a 1-0 triumph over Norwich. Both players qualify for England U21s, who are well positioned to secure their place in next year's European Championships. England currently leads its group under Carsley, having secured victory in all 5 fixtures to date, accumulating a perfect 15 points. Despite Clark, who recently secured the Esports FC EFL Young Player of the Month award for January, celebrating his 21st birthday this month, he remains available for selection. The regulations are structured to allow players to participate throughout an entire tournament cycle, from qualification through to the final stages. This means that, for the 2027 competition, players can be included even if they're 22 or 23, provided they were born on or after January 1, 2004.